doing is trying to put it's pretty transparent, and it smells, stinks,
It's so loud.
rips.
So loud.
Desperation, right? Yeah, I'm sitting like a baby. I know some of the other folks are. Because I know we're the backs on our side. I'm sorry, you've had to go through this. But we just, look, we can control what we can control. We can't control their behavior, how they go at this, but we can control our responses. This might be the first time we've had everybody here. Well, Paul's not going to be here. I was going to say, for a public Millage, yeah. Kristen, you ready to wow me? I want to be wowed about this Millage hearing. Yeah. Are you going to explain a little bit about the new HB 81, 581? No. Okay. That's something we're going to have to defend. Those notices go out?
No.
Guten Tag.
Guess who's going to have it? 2026.
What's that?
Clerks would no longer be responsible for the filings of you guys' campaign reports. You're going to be responsible for them yourselves.
Oh, that doesn't mean you don't get to remind us. We still need an affidavit signed. Yeah, yeah.
It's a different one.
I was, yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
I know, just, but Gabrielle called me, McGrath, and she said, she and Shannon were there. She said, I had to leave.
Is Shannon her friend that she's always with?
Yeah.
Are they friends?
Yeah, they're friends. And they're my friends too.
Are they carpenters? Yeah.
We go to eat we go out to eat every week.
I didn't get that vibe, but they're just like butt buddies.
Yeah,
So I was just curious, yeah.
But, it sounds like it was pretty rough.
I actually, on the way here, they were still at Ken, so we walked up and they debriefed me about everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more about first personal politics.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go
dominant
ahead and get
theme.
started this morning. This is the City Council public hearing meeting for the millage rate. I will read the rules of order for public hearing non-zoning matters first. The mayor is the presiding officer. All remarks shall be addressed to the City Council as a body, not to individual members. Anyone wishing to speak shall come to the microphone, give their name and address to the city clerk, limit remarks to 3 minutes unless further time is granted by council, and not speak a second time until everyone wishing to speak has spoken once, and no one can speak more than twice. Please do not speak unless you have the microphone and have been recognized. And with that, I will open up this public hearing for the millage rate for 2025.
Thank you, Mayor. I will just give you a brief overview of the 2025 tax assessment and where we are right now. So the city adopted a general fund budget of $35.9 million approximately, and that was set with an anticipated millage rate of 6.25 mils. So as you know, we have a calendar year fiscal year. We have to set the budget 6 months plus in advance of adopting the actual millage rate. So we're doing a lot of projecting out very early on. The city's millage rate has been set at 6.25 mils since about 2019. And in 2019, you guys also passed an additional homestead exemption to total about $50,000 per homestead property. Due to the increase in DeKalb County's reevaluation of real property, maintaining the millage rate at 6.25 mils will result in a tax increase of roughly 7.81%. The city will adopt the millage rate on June 25th after the third and final public hearing. Here is the current 2025 property digest and 5-year tax history, levy history. I'm sorry, it's a little hard to read. This is the first year since prior to the pandemic that we are not seeing a double-digit increase to net value or net levy. So it's just under 9%. And that's all I got.
That caught me off guard. I thought you were going to have a lot more to say. All right, questions or discussion from council?
Are there any highlights on this chart that you want to kind of point out, or that's kind of self-explanatory?
So this is the legal ad that we run as part of state law. This shows the total the total tax digest, and then the net levy over a 5-year history. So you can see the changes in time from, as you see in 2021, for example, The net taxes levied were about 11.9, whereas in 2025, it's about 18.4 million. So we've still seen a pretty substantial growth, growth, like I said, it's been double digits in percentage growth over the last 5 years. But that trend is starting to slow down a little bit. And I will say this is pretty on par with what we projected in tax revenue for this fiscal year.
Any other comments from council? I would say I've tried to explain this over the past few days. I've had a couple of people reach out, several people actually reach out and ask questions. And basically, the reason it's listed as a tax increase, even though the millage rate stays the same, is because property values went up.
Correct.
And so I like to just try to make people aware. 6.25 is where we've been for how many years? I don't remember. But
Since 2019.
since 2019, so that remains the same. But the property values are going up. So with that, it has to be advertised as a tax increase.
Yes, and the state of Georgia requires us to advertise even though our millage rate has remained the same because your property value is increased. Obviously, the math being what the math is, percentage increase in value, percentage increase in taxes associated, not the actual rate of the tax itself.
And just one other little point, let's go back to 2019, actually, the year prior, our millage, we actually, 6.25 is down from the original millage rate before that.
Yes, it was you're absolutely correct, it was 6.5 mils prior to 2019. So that 6.25 was lowered from what was historically 6.5 mils. I don't even know how long it was set at 6.5 mils for, but for quite a bit of time prior to that, it was a little bit higher. And then you added the additional homestead exemption as well.
Where are we at on our homestead exemptions? 50,000?
50,000. It's for the first 50,000 of your assessed value is exempted from taxes.
Just a reminder that we have a homestead exemption plus a senior exemption out there for anybody that needs some sort of relief from this. I will point out this is almost a tenable situation for us because as we control the millage rate, that's all we can control, and we've kept it the same for 6 years now. We also have seen an increase in our property value, which means that we're doing our jobs up here. But it also means a increase in taxes, even though we're keeping the, increase in the, yes, it would be an increase in taxes. But that's not by our design, it's by us being successful, if that makes sense.
And I'll also add that during that time, because as the property taxes, assessed value increases, but even though the millage rate stays the same, the increase in revenue goes up. A lot of that is because with the increased property values, people have higher expectations like better sidewalks, better street lighting, better services, 2 new leaf trucks, all these things that all kind of go with that. And so it's hard to keep and salary increases, police salaries have increased a lot during this time. So some of that is why we're, the revenue is going up, yes, but also expenses are going up and things that go along. And the thing about, for example, streetlights, there's many things like this, but streetlights, they're not a one-time expense. They cost us something every month,
Right.
And if they get run over by a car, they cost us something else again. So there's a reason that the revenue needs to increase.
And we're not immune from inflation like
Yes.
everybody else. We've seen everybody's experiencing electric costs going up. The city has to pay that as well. And we hear overwhelmingly as a council, continue the services you have, continue the programming you have. And those exponentially are getting more expensive every single year as well. So it's interesting dynamic to look at where we'll have one side saying lower taxes, but then don't decrease the services that you're offering out there.
Right.
And it's a challenge to do both.
I will also I wanted to make the point that the city, unlike several other cities in Georgia, but in particularly in DeKalb County, we don't have access to a LOST. We have a SPLOST, of course, and that's earmarked for specific transportation improvements and certain capital outlay. But the city in DeKalb County does not have a LOST, so we do not get a transfer of sales taxes into our general fund. That limits our ability to have different revenue sources in our general fund. We're very reliant on our property taxes.
Any other questions or comments? All right, that will take us down to public comment. The mayor is the presiding officer. All remarks shall be addressed to the city council as a body, not to individual members. Anyone wishing to speak shall come to the microphone, give your name and address to the city clerk. Limit remarks to 3 minutes unless further time is granted by council. Not speak a second time until everyone wishing to speak has spoken once, and no one speak more than twice. Please do not speak unless you have the microphone and have been recognized. Anyone wishing to address council this evening?
Mr. Mayor, just a point of order.
Mayor, we did not offer the opportunity for anyone to speak in favor or opposition of the item during the public hearing.
Oh, I thought that's what we were doing now. I guess I got a little bit ahead
They're
of
actually two
myself.
separate things, because one's a public
Okay.
hearing, one's citizen comment.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, if you want to speak on the public hearing, come on up to the microphone as far as the millage rate. If you want to talk about the millage rate, come on up to the microphone. Yeah, you got 10 minutes.
My name's Dan Harris. I live at 3037 Camar Lane. And I just want to make sure I understand what y'all says, that the millage rate's going to stay at 6.25%. Is that right?
That is the plan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They still have to vote on it. Your council still has to vote on it, but that is the current suggestion from staff. Okay.
Morning. My name's Ashley Oldag, 2291 Wallace Drive. I am trying to get more acclimated to the city of Chamblee as a new homeowner in recent years, and I appreciate the time this morning talking to the mayor, but also this public forum, whatever you want to call this, to explain the millage rate. I honestly came into it very confused. There's a lot of misinformation online, so I appreciate this opportunity to hear more about it, to learn about it, and I hope that other residents of the community are able to join in so they can understand as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else wishing to speak on the public hearing? All right. All right, I'm not going to read the rules of order again, but if you'll, this will open it up for public comments, and this is on any subject matter. So if there's anything else going on in the city that you want to talk about, this is your opportunity to come up to the microphone and tell us what you think. Anything that's on your mind. It's a monologue, not a dialogue. We might not be able to answer you, but you can still tell us what your thoughts are.
Wondering if any repairs are going to be made on Dresden Drives regarding potholes and double striping the yellow line down the center, because it's faded.
Stick around to the end of the meeting.
Yep. Stick around for a few more minutes and somebody will definitely come talk to you about that. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, I will close out this public hearing. Thank you all for being here.
And gosh, it's so active.
You weren't standing. Councilman Mason.